Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live broadcast. I feel like I've been on this 4-day weekend because the weekend has been very busy, very, very busy. And I think I titled this broadcast something like very busy because it's been insanely busy, insanely busy. So I'm going to click on my own live. That's always part of it. We're going to go through a few things here like we always do. If you're new here, my name is Josh. I am an entrepreneur and I sell stuff on eBay, and we are building the document, the road to 100 million. That is $100 million worth of listed items on eBay. And this is our journey, and we document it live. So I usually start these broadcasts where we talk about all sorts of things. We're building this business using List Easier. Everything here behind me, all of it, all of this, it's all been listed using List Easier. Every single thing. And we're continuing to do that. And we're buying inventory and we're putting it up and we're finding the best stuff we can and we're running it through List Easier, our process. We're listing it, and that's the business model. And we're doing this because it's just such a great opportunity. Why wouldn't you take it? It's such a huge opportunity right now that we don't want to miss out on it. So, and as you don't want to miss out on it. So what's changed? Let's talk about what's changed over the weekend. Lots of things have happened. We had the big launch with Flex, Australia, UK. Those three are huge. Those were massive launches. So with that came a lot of customer support. So we had thousands of new users over the past 3 or 4 days come onto the site. That's required a fair bit of customer support, walking people through how things are done. All of you, thank you for sending me emails. Thank you for reaching out. If you ever want to get hold of me, come to this live broadcast or send me an email, josh@listeasier.com. josh@listeasier.com. Yes. Send me an email and I'll get back to you ASAP. You guys are our customers. We work for you. It's a priority. So I'll always get back to you. I just ask. I know it was a crazy weekend, but 3 a.m, 4 a.m. calls. I answer, but if you can just be mindful, I'm in the Eastern time zone for next time because you are calling my cell phone and I will take that call. Okay, if I hear it, if I'm not deep passed out sleeping, but it was a busy weekend. Just the volume of people coming in from Australia, the UK, and of course, US sellers. Lots and lots of US sellers coming aboard to utilize the Flex program. So that was the big thing that happened this weekend. I was like, just on Sunday, I'm like, I just can't even believe what's going on. It's just, kind of, sometimes you have to take a step back and it's absolutely incredible. So that was a big part of the weekend. We have the videos. I talked to Neil. You'll start seeing on the List Easier U channel, those videos starting to launch now. So that's going, they're starting to come out of production and launch. I think the next video to launch will be how to use Flex. So if there's anybody out there who's having troubles understanding how Flex works or they need some guidance, that video is coming out. But of course, you can always email me, Josh@listeasier, and we can go through it, or we can talk about it in the live, whatever you want. So there's that as well. The accountants have reached out. They want the bookkeeping completed. I asked for 2 weeks grace because it's been so busy. That will be another thing on my plate that has to get dealt with, is getting those books submitted in the next 2 weeks. And I think we're pretty much there. It shouldn't be that bad. Tomorrow we contact this big buy, the company that we had this big 2 tractor trailer loads worth of stuff from. So we're making another tranche, another purchase tomorrow. We'll contact them and then we'll get that shipped, the first tranche, so that Spencer the Oracle can get onto that stuff. And great news, Spencer the Oracle is back and we're happy to have her back. It's a bit of a cold time as far as I heard in Florida, which is unfortunate, but I'm glad she's back with us. So everything seems to be working the way it should. But boy, was it a busy weekend. Boy, was it a busy weekend. I want to take the time to say something. I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Welcome to you 53 operators in the chat right now. I want to take the time to say something important. So we understand all of us, we understand the importance of List Easier in your business. We can see a lot of you investing a lot of money into List Easier, as in not the software, but shelving, outbuildings, new offices, new storage spaces. We see you building up this infrastructure as you grow your businesses, and we take that responsibility very seriously. So we're always going to be there. We're always here. We're always available. You can reach out in the live, Josh at List Easier. We're always available. If anything, you need anything, you just reach out. And we will continue to build this software out and add features that will, with you in mind, not with us in mind, but so you will become more profitable. You will have more platforms to access or list on, that it becomes quicker, more accurate, all these things. So I just want everyone to know. I had a few people reach out and say, they're concerned because they're investing a lot of money in their business, and they want reassurance. Hey, are you always going to be there? And of course, we're always going to be there. That we're here permanently. We are working very closely with eBay's developers, eBay's ecosystem, so that we can enhance their ecosystem. This is what we want for people, exactly what's happening. So I wanted to get that out there. And then on a personal note, it's just been busy. I went to the golf simulator on the weekend. So this is just on a personal note, just to get my mind off things for an hour. And I think that's really important when you're busy. If I don't have that hour or 2 hours to reset, a lot of times I'll lose production over days. So there are things I really need to get done, and I'll lose my momentum or my ability to keep on top of things if I don't just take a little break. So I did go to the golf simulator. It was fun, but you know what? Honestly, for the money you pay at a golf simulator, I would kind of rather just do a course. I'd rather go to just play a course, but it's too cold out. So it was fun. I'm glad I did it. And that's it. That's where that is. So let's go over the numbers, and then we will jump into the chat. Okay. How's everybody liking Flex so far? We had a few. The good thing about having so many users is that the smallest little things, if they pop up, you're going to hear about it not once, not twice, like 300 times, 500 times. So it becomes a real urgency to get, because lots of people are contacting you. So that in a way is a good thing, because you have so many eyeballs. You have thousands of eyeballs watching, any little thing, if they're using like a browser that's out of date that nobody uses, one in thousands is going to be using that browser, and we can make those updates. So it's really beneficial to have such a wide group and have the network so tight and close, where you guys are basically at the founder level working with us, and we're all building businesses together. That's something that's really incredible. Okay, let's go over the numbers. Okay. I'll get Kenneth. I'll get to your thing there. Okay, here we go. I saw it. I'll get to it, Kenneth. Okay, accounts, List Easier accounts. We have 2 List Easier accounts for the document. That's $100 million worth of listed product on eBay. 2 accounts, List Easier _records. Come on over there, search us on eBay, List Easier _records. Follow us. You can follow our journey, or the other account is List Easier _books. You can follow either account, both accounts, whatever you want. Those are our 2 media accounts that we're running right now. There will be more, but right now that's the stuff that we have a lot of, that we've purchased in big numbers. So check out those accounts on eBay and follow us, add us. We have a total of 3,761 listings. This is incredible. This is the document is barely 2 weeks old. So 3,700 listings, or 3,761 listings. Amazing. Total amount listed, $88,402. That's in US dollars. And this is an increase of around 3,000 or 4,000 since Friday. And Spencer the Oracle has only really been working 2 hours this morning, 3 hours about. So In that 3 hours, she's done another $4,000 worth of listings. Absolutely incredible. Mind blowing. We have been live for 15 days, a little over 2 weeks, and our total revenue is $3,115.48. That's in US dollars. Also incredible. We are past our verification holds. We do have an issue which we are working to resolve with the account. It's not a verification hold, but there is a small issue. I don't want to announce just what's going on yet because Super Dave is off to meet with someone, and hopefully we get some clearer answers when he is done doing his thing. So we're going to rattle some cages and see what's going on. But other than that, with the holds gone, we can now start seeing this revenue starting to move a little bit for us. It's starting to grow a little bit. So we're excited about that. The sun is shining. There's lots of snow on the ground. I'm feeling really, really good. It was an intense weekend, but I really kind of love that. I just love it. So anyway, let's jump into the chat. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good sales weekend and you are just out of the gate blasting. Classic Phase says, happy Monday. Good afternoon or good morning and happy Monday to you, Classic Phase. Welcome, welcome. Jen says hello. Welcome, Jen. Good to see you. Eric Bressi says hello and happy MLK Day. It is Martin Luther King Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day today. So the post office is closed. So if you're rushing to get your stuff packed, just know that you have an extra day. But yeah, happy MLK Day to everyone. Steve Vash says, great sales weekend for me. Hope everyone else had a great one. Happy Monday. Steve, I'm going to share your hack here. Steve sells clothing and he's setting the world on fire with it, I will say. But can I say this, Steve? Are you okay with this? He creates a little whiteboard for his pictures and he puts measurements and anything, like if there's something you really need included in there that you don't think the AI is going to pick up, like, or the tags ripped off, put some measurements, he'll put ladies or whatever in the jeans or whatever the, clothing he's selling, and the AI picks it up. It gives it context and it builds a beautiful listing in Flex. So that I think is a great trick, tip, and hack. If you're a clothing seller and you have a lot of tagless items, this is something we talked about last week where people were saying the items appear unisex, but they're actually male or female. And, how do we distinguish? Steve Vash's tip or trick is that's a beauty right there. So, and then you just delete the photo out of the listing after. Or once it generates, you delete it inside List Easier. That's a beauty hack. Good morning, Missy B. Just sitting here and processing photos and listing slides. Oh, Missy, you're the one with all the slides. Wow. I think you said did you say 50,000 slides you got to put up? That is awesome. Eric Gunta says, hey, Eric, welcome. Den Decor Depot says, good day, Josh. Had some decent sales this weekend. Gave the new feature a test drive, and it's a game changer. That is awesome, Den Decor Depot. Awesome. And I'm glad you're getting good sales. Awesome. Junk Boy Thrift says, howdy. Good to see you, Junk Boy Thrift. Welcome. Scott, the Beard King Picker, says, good morning, Josh. Good morning to you, Scott. Welcome. Lucky Fine says, good morning. Good morning to you. Snoopy Collector with the red hand, hello and welcome. Dbach10 says, started listing my eBay CD death pile a week ago. I've listed 2,000 CDs so far. Since Friday afternoon until now, 58 CDs have sold. Incredible. One rare CD sold for 150. Total sold over 140 CDs out of the 2,000 that you listed. Boom. Goodbye, death pile. Hello, money in your pocket, D-Bach. Keep going. And honestly, I just love hearing stuff like that. It really, really feels amazing. It gives us purpose. It's just awesome to see that. Keep the sales cranking. Keep going. Don't let anyone stop you. Can we get a thumbs up for D-Bach? Thumbs up for D-Bach. D-Bach is crushing it. Good for you. Mike Seller says, Sub-Zero greetings from South Dakota. It's a little warmer here, so hopefully that cold weather is not coming this way. Mike Seller, I think it's better for you all in South Dakota to keep it. Don't send it this way. Um, James says, this is me waiting for Dave to be on video. He's going to take some convincing. Friday's video, he was off to the side. He was in the background, so maybe a little more convincing. Spam Banshee says, aloha, List Easier. I love List Easier. Thank you, List Easier crew. Awesome, Spam. Welcome, welcome, everyone. If you want to come jump over with us and see Spam Banshee and Primo Chemo on the Primo Chemo channel, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Let's head on over there and have a little fun and talk and see what's going on with their business. I listen to it on my drive back, so after this, I usually have my drive back. I either go to the gym or do something like that to just reset before I have to pick up my kids and then work into the evening. And I have them on. So Kenneth Oro says, good morning, Josh. The titles are generating measurements on all my listings. They used to create a big, beautiful title. Now I have to delete half of them. Having measurement could be an INAD. Kenneth, I would say, first of all, were you using batches or flex? And I would say if for something like that, contact customer support. So if you're noticing in your category that there's something different or you don't like, contact support. They can either steer you in the right direction, or they can have a deeper look into what's going on, because that's something that would be completely technical. So I would say contact customer support and they'll take a look at that for sure. Jeanette says, not a big deal, but Flex wasn't able to find my collectible plush bear. Is that a category you're working on? I got a listing that titled it List 2 and no description. Jeanette, when we launched, I would say run the thing again. I don't know when you listed, but when we first launched Flex, there was a bug. Admittedly, like, we own that. We launched it with a small bug that we didn't catch, our fault. But anything you generated there, if that's still hanging around, I would delete those Flex batches. Just get rid of them totally. Run it again, and it will do a much better job. So take a look at that and see if that helps out. Make sure you do the Control-Shift-R to refresh so you're getting the latest logic and data. But I would say that's probably what happened. So we had a few other people reach out where they said that they had started batches or they were building batches or Flex listings off of old logic, and then they returned back to them. So if that's what's happening, let me know. John J. UK says, hey, Josh, hope you are well. John, I am doing well, and thank you for reaching out this weekend. The way you communicate, John, is a huge help. So I really appreciate you, and thank you for your emails. Derek W. Pat says, hello, Josh. Hello, everybody. Good to see you, Derek. Welcome. Hiccup. Excuse me, Derek W. Pat. James Helfersay says, yesterday listed 350. Pulled and shipped all my orders and stopped working at 7 to watch the Blues get their butt whipped. I get more excited by the day. It's incredible, James. It really is. And I'm getting more excited. The stuff that we're listing has been very long tail to be up over $3,000. We've paid off all the items we purchased for records. The whole buy, thousands and thousands and thousands, has all been paid off. And I think Super Dave was saying we're halfway through Spencer the Oracle's wage with a brand new account. This is incredible. That just got verified a couple days ago, like fully verified. This is incredible. So the ground is shifting. List Easier is a critical part of our infrastructure. It is a critical part of your infrastructure. And this is one of the reasons why we're documenting this every single day, is to show you that we're always here and we're never leaving. I would think for me, if we have a software that we use for video production. This is a team we work with. And if we weren't able to get hold of them when we needed to, or if they didn't respond back, it would terrify me, because that's a big risk if you're building this infrastructure, which is why I always want to be like, here we are. We show up every single day, good or bad. Flex came out. There was a small little thing. 300 people contacted us. we still show up no matter what until it's fixed. We understand that you guys are building these big businesses around this software. We're not going anywhere. So I really want to drive that home. Go Spencer, go, says Classic Face. Man, she is truly the oracle when it comes to listing. Joseph Mart says, howdy, y'all. Welcome, Joe. Welcome. Steve Ash says, yes, give my secret sauce. So we did. If you missed the secret sauce, you're going to have to go back and rewind, find the Easter egg where Steve's secret clothing sauce was revealed. Behind the Bubble Wrap says, howdy, folks. Good to see you behind the Bubble Wrap. Lag says, hey, how's it going, Lag? Welcome, welcome. Wild in New England. Good afternoon. It's party time in New England, or is it wild as in animals? Welcome and good afternoon in New England. Steve Vash says, yes, I use a small, dry erase whiteboard. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. You know, especially for Flex, this is the thing. The more context you can give it, the better. So if you're listing a tennis ball, let's say, and there's no ruler for measurement, and the pictures you take of it, none of it says Dunlop on it, and it's a Dunlop tennis ball, but you just neglect to show it in one of your pictures, it might say that it's a Wilson tennis ball, because how would it know? And then it's wrong. So the more that you can give it, the more context you can give it, the more accurate the listings are going to be. So Steve has learned this with clothing. He's found his own hack, which I think everyone should use, and it's basically, he just turned on the afterburners. He was flying his jet, and now it's the afterburners. So Missy B says 100,000 slides. I'll be doing this until I die. Hey, I mean, I don't know what those slides go for, but at $5 a slide, it's $500,000. You could feasibly do that all in a year. You could list $500,000 worth of slides in a year if you pushed it 6 months, but I don't think you should. I said bearded picker. I didn't say beard king picker. I said Scott the bearded picker. I didn't say beard king picker. But there are many bearded pickers. There's beard king picker, Alex. There's bearded thrifter. There's bearded picker. I'm going to change my name to beer as in a can of beer. New word, D-I-D. New word, picker. Bearded picker. Wheels and Resin says, great news. My CT scan shows that my cancer is getting smaller and I am well enough for surgery. Awesome, Wheels. Let's everyone put some hearts in the chat, please. Hearts and thumbs up. Our Wheels and Resin has good news on the cancer front. That is awesome. I'm going to try and put some, if I can find them here, I'm going to try and put some excitement emojis, because that is huge news. That is huge news. There we go. Here come the hearts. Put them up. Put them up. Put them up. Put them up. I don't know. I tried to put happiness here. There. I'm putting my own excitement emojis. Put them up there. Congratulations, Wheels. We're all behind you on this. That is amazing. Big congrats to you. Huge, huge, huge. I'm happy to hear that. Landshark Picker says, what's up, guys? I finally bought in. List easier for the win. Welcome, Craig. Welcome. Let us know how it's going, how you're enjoying it so far. Awesome to have you aboard. Happy you're here. Awesome. James Helferstay is talking to the Beard King Picker. Scott. B-Nude says, what's up? What's up, B-Nudes? Welcome, welcome. James says, Josh's age is showing at Bearded Picker. Oh, man, tell me about it. It was a crazy weekend. B-Nude says it's supposed to get cold up here. I think you're in Pennsylvania somewhere, right? Am I right about that? Are you in Western New York, Ms. Unites, or are you in Pennsylvania? I don't look at the weather anymore, but it's nice right now. thumbs up from Derek W. And that's for Wheels and Resin. Congratulations. Bearded Picker says, right, James, no respect. I am the Rodney Dangerfield of reselling. I get no respect. Congrats to Dbach 10, Sys Classic phase. Batches. Okay, Kenneth, contact our customer support. So go to profile, customer support, and mention it. And those guys will look at the back end and see if there's, if there's any changes in the logic. But yeah, reach out to customer service, because if it's something like that, that's something they have to go through. Trailcam T says, using eBay bulk edit, I switched buy it now listings to auctions. Pre-list easier listings kept photos, but list easier listings made about 100 days ago didn't carry over photos. New list easier listings working fine. Something's going on, Trailcam. You're not the first person to report this. I saw it on the eBay community boards. I do not believe this is a list easier. I know it's not necessarily a list easier issue, but there is something going on with the photos, with eBay's servers. I mean, the listings go to them, it's ingested. They put it back up. Something's going on. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I got a message about this over the weekend, and I felt bad about it. Somebody messaged me that they had something like 3,000 listings. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but it's not us, it's eBay. We've contacted eBay. I don't know what to say or do about it, honestly. Mike Seller says the AI support bot is a home run. It answered questions I hadn't even asked. Awesome. That's a new update, Mike, and that was mostly because people were having questions on the site about how to like basically do simple things within the site. So people would reach out. When you have thousands of users, you get hundreds at a time of questions like, how do I navigate through the software? How do I do this? How do I do that? So the chatbot is kind of helping, but also it's not meant to replace customer service. We still want you to reach out and get hold of us, which is why I always say, Josh at List Easier. If you have anything, reach out to me. But I will say, I want to go back to what you said. Be careful with end and sell similar, end and relist. Do it 10 listings at a time. Be careful. We've heard this from other content creators. Kevin has mentioned it. A lot of other content creators have mentioned it. There's problems with the photos. There's problems with social media sharing. Be very, very careful. If you know there's an issue, please, everyone, please don't make these huge changes. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. We ended and relisted thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of items. There were no issues with photos. Nothing. We didn't have any problems at all. We couldn't recreate it. But be careful and know that that's out there. If you do end and sell similar, I want to talk about this a little bit because Mason T brought this up and it's a good point. I personally don't like end and sell similar, end and relist. I understand it has its place and everything. But if you create a fully optimized listing, I wanted to talk about this. If you create a fully optimized listing and you put it out there, why would you end it to relist it again? I think the logic is that you end it and then anyone who has it on their saved watch list, those keywords, they'll see it and then maybe they will buy it. Or maybe there's, I don't know, I guess I got to watch what I say. Maybe there's a thought out there that somehow refreshes it within the algorithm. I personally don't believe that. What I think it does is it breaks a link off site, which you don't want. And I also think that you're telling, every time that's ended and relisted, you're telling offsite algorithms that this is something that hasn't sold and is relisted again. I personally think it's worse. But these are all technical questions that I can't get into. I got to watch what I say. Because I am not a technical founder. So I have to watch what I say there. Good morning, Glenn Cameron. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Eric Bressy says, I need to get my passport, but want to visit Canada this summer. Get it. We're not getting any younger. Get it and come on up. Lag says, if Flex could clean my room, I'd get a lot more listings done. We got to get that Tesla 3 robot. Rob Special Interest says, "Hi Josh, I had issues with Flex eBay failing to list new DVDs. Found that I could list them as very good, and it changed it in eBay later." Yeah, so that was, I think that was probably, was that Saturday, Rob? So in the DVD section, new, I think that that has changed now. So if it hasn't changed, let me know. But as far as I understand, that changed on Sunday, where we got a bug report saying that in the DVD section, if you listed it as new, there was an issue. So you had to list it as used or like new. But I believe that is fixed now. So, but if it isn't, reach out to tech support in the List Easier profile. Glenn Cameron says, chipping away at the autos. They're taking some research on my end using List Easier. Half of them have no comps or listings. Oh yeah, I mean, if you're well, that's the thing. I mean, Glenn, for autographs, that would be hard. This is awesome because you're really pushing the software to its extremes. If you're doing autographs and it's still getting half of them, that's incredible. That's a tough order. You're pushing it to extremes. Beanut says bugs is bugs. I think the only thing I'd ever coded without a bug was back in the early eBay days when checks, MOs, and our merchant account, I made a bulk mailer to send automated messages. Well, for something like List Easier, now it's across 4 countries, connected to 4 different eBay websites. It is in 4 million lines of code, approximately. And then you got to think about the things that pop up. Like someone says, if you, in the API for DVDs in the UK, if you put new, it won't allow it through. You have to put used. All these little things exist, and then you have to go in and debug it and adjust for that specific API. It is an insane amount of work, but it's what we love. It's what the guys do. That's what they do. So these little things will come up, and there's no way, because the system is so huge, we'd ever know about it if people didn't reach out. We can test and test and test and test, but unless we test a brand new DVD in the UK on the UK site, it's something like that is not going to come up. But when we find it, when somebody reports it, fix it. So I think that it's part of the process, And one of the things that I want to do, or we've always done, is we see glitches on software everywhere, right? We just had it with our production company over the weekend. They had a glitch, and they owned it. And it's, we want to do the same thing. If there's a problem, like in DVDs, we'll fix it. There are millions of permutations, or possibilities. So when stuff like that comes up, we want to fix it. It makes it better for the entire community, and then somebody else doesn't run into that at a later date. But overall, usage on the site has been insane. We added thousands of users in a very short period of time. So, and we had a lot of feedback of stuff coming in from people like this, asking questions, how things are working. I think we've gone through the gate on most of that stuff. But if you see something, say something. Reach out to us. We don't want to stay quiet about these things, and we want it. We want to know. We can fix it quick. Beardeds are the best, says Bearded Poketuber. Another one. Did I say Beard King spam? Oh my gosh. Maybe I am losing my mind. And I can't even say this is my first coffee because it's not. Maybe I'm talking too fast. Maybe that's the problem. Bearded Poketuber says, I might be biased though. Behind the Bubble Wrap says, awesome. I've had so many of those. To folks who hadn't paid as a reminder, says B Nudes. Everyone is throwing in their hearts and thanks to Wheels and Resin on the great news. Trail KMT says, when creating flex listings, is there a limit on how many photos can be uploaded? No. It seems to take much longer to upload photos in Flex when compared to using batch listings. Yes. So this is another thing, Trailcam, um, with Flex versus um, batches. In many ways, batches are going to be more efficient, faster. It's really the way the data is structured in batches, which allows us to do that. In individual listings, it is much more difficult for a few reasons. And one of them is, then this is not necessarily the photo question, but one of them is context, right? When when you use Flex, whatever you're selling doesn't have any context. It has to search basically all of human knowledge to a certain degree in a very short period of time to determine what this item is. Yeah, the photo upload process for sure is a little bit slower in Flex. This is something, I mean, this is new launch. This is something we can look at, and these are little improvements may be able to make as time goes on. Again, I don't understand I don't know the technical parts of this. That's not my forte or my strong suit, but that's something they can look at improving over time. But definitely it is. It's a little bit slower. I would agree. Yes. Where Pigs Fly Farm says, congratulations, praying. Everybody's praying. Miss Unites is in Western New York. Nice, B-Nudes. James says, whoever upgraded signed up for the $300 list easier using my affiliate. Thank you. Much love. Awesome, James. Awesome. Nice. Well, I do want to make a prediction here, though. I do think that it is only a matter of time because now, you go from, with List Easier, it went from, can we do this? Yes, we can. Then it was, we were kind of trying to convince people like, hey, this thing is incredible. Like once you use it, you'll see. Now it's moved to infrastructure. So this is a critical piece of infrastructure for people's businesses. It's not about convincing anymore. With this many users, I think it's only a matter of time before someone gets like 10 of the top accounts where they have like a barn or something and they just turn it into a production facility where they're just putting up. I think that scaling will naturally happen over time with a lot of the users. We're seeing a lot of users scale very quickly, but you could have an online presence, and we talk about this, for the document as well, but you could have an online presence that challenges any other business or warehouse as far as goods are concerned. It'd be interesting to see where that lines up and who lines up something like that. You always see people almost scale things to the extreme. There will be extreme users. I think of like Music Magpie, where people were listing 10, 15, and he just comes out of nowhere and he's listing thousands every single day. I think we're going to see that happen with this software too, because it's possible and the software is capable of it, but no one's really done that yet. We're doing our best, but we have Spencer the Oracle. We don't have 10 Spencer the Oracles, but somebody will someday. That's going to happen. I would put my money on that happening. Why? Because there's hundreds of millions of dollars to be made. And when there's money like that to be made, someone's going to do it at some point, I think. Den Decor Depot says, I'm in Pennsylvania. Cold is coming. Cleared the snow every day this weekend. Piddly 3-inch stuff. We didn't get much here. I probably got 3 or 4 inches, but last Thursday we got a big storm. Guess the Draw says, finally found a big lot of vintage clothes I'm buying off of someone on Facebook Marketplace. Nice. I'm so excited to get them listed lightning fast and use the profits for a bigger lot or a storage unit. This is what I mean. Watching you all grow so quickly that you're investing in infrastructure. It's going to be an exciting year for a lot of people. Just Beth Cooking says, I'm praying for you, Wheels. I'm a breast cancer survivor. Congratulations, Beth. There is so much hope and happiness on the other side. Very nice words of encouragement, Beth. Thank you for saying that. eShop Hero says, "How are you doing pictures so quickly? I feel like the iPhone is slow with the software." Yeah, you're right. It is. We use a stationary camera. So, eShop Hero, there are people in the chat who use an overhead document camera. They're about $100, $80, $70 with approximately a 16 megapixel resolution. That can hook up to your PC, connect to the camera app, and you can just press the spacebar and take pictures. Or you can get a hand clicker, or as Eric Bressi has, a foot pedal. And you just keep pressing and it will take the pictures. You rotate the items, everything stays stationary. We have a photo rail. So we have a rail system that adjusts higher and can slide one way or the other. And then we have a camera, a Canon, I think it is, a Canon camera attached to that, which feeds back into the computer. And then we do everything through the camera app on the computer. So that's how we do it. So for us, it's just this clicker. Spencer the Oracle doesn't even look at the computer. She just presses the clicker and she just hammers through the records. You know, there's a TV up there. Watch a little TV, take it easy, not too much stress. The iPhone is a pain because you then have to take all the photos, transfer the photos from your iPhone to your computer. You can do it. It's still fast, but it takes a little bit more time. But yeah, we use a mounted stationary camera. Wheels and Resin says, "Sorry for not staying on topic, but learn the news and thank you all. Now after a party, we'll get back to listing." Awesome. Awesome, Wheels. Congrats. Rob Special Interest says, I'm still putting off using batches until having 3 batches of 10 fail. Maybe because of one new item. Let me know if it is fixed or not working." Rob, you got to talk to Dave. So contact customer support if there are issues. And I know that there are some category trees that have to still get changed in the UK, but these are all things for, as far as technical stuff is concerned, contact customer support on your profile page, because I can't do anything with the software because I don't know how to fix it. If there's anything wrong, or if it's a user thing, I would say, but I know you've already done this, go through the videos, the usage videos on List Easier U. If you've gone through those already and you don't believe it's a user error and you're doing everything right, contact customer support and they can look into your account and see what's going on. Michael Kerstetter says, "I upgraded to the 3,000 listing program yesterday. Now I have to list 150 today, or 150 per day the next 2 weeks to max it out." Do it. Do it. Your future self will thank you. Your bank account will thank you. Beanut says, "End and sell similar is a knife's edge equation. There's a lot of detail at hand, but if one has replenishable inventory, it's a no-brainer. Never end and sell similar, not ever." Well, yeah, because it's ranking your listing. If you have quantity or replenishables, it's ranking your listing. I think that end and sell similar, I don't want to get into this debate because I don't really know the answer to it, but I think that end and sell similar had its place and then it stopped working as well. I really personally feel that if your listings are fully optimized and they're getting indexed off-site, to break that connection every 10 days, every 5 days, every 30 days or whatever, I don't think it's a good idea. I would sooner, if you're frustrated that items aren't moving every 30 days, I would sooner adjust prices or things like that, change photos. But to end and sell similar just for the sake of breaking a link on all these offsite, and it's not just Google now, it's now also the LLMs. I don't think it's a good idea, but that's my opinion. There's no, I'm just going to leave it at that that's my opinion. I did notice that ChatGPT OpenAI is going to start including ads in their chats. So Sam Altman said that on the weekend, that they're going to start including ads in their chats, and we want eBay items in those ads, in those ChatGPT ads. So, and I wonder how that's going to work with promoting that will be interesting too. How that will work with promoting inside those LLMs. Whole world is changing. It's changing very quick. I'm excited for I'm excited because every time something changes like this, it creates a lot of opportunity. David Myers says the software has been excellent and cut my listing time in half. Awesome. I'm curious about your pricing strategy though. I find myself looking up each item individually to make sure the pricing is accurate. Yeah, so David, if you're talking about price easier, that's kind of the predictive analytics or the predictive pricing model. That takes a sample set of data and it gives you the median price. So I would not click on price easier and say, this is the be all end all, as someone up in the chat mentioned earlier. Now, if you are one of 50 in that sample set and it's telling you like 37.77, okay, that's probably the price. But for the person that was selling signatures earlier in the chat, where only two prices came up, or only the sample size was only two, there's a lot of variation there. So in that case, I would very loosely use the pricing as a guide. But the pricing isn't the be all end all. So it's taking sample sizes of items and similar items sold, and it's giving you a best fit, but it may not work every time. It is between the gathered market intelligence, the sample sizes that it's using, and our own internal predictive artificial intelligence. That's the best it can, that is the best it gets. So as more pricing data is completed through the List Easier site, that will tighten up and become more accurate. But it is a pretty good guide. It's not going to be perfect every time, and it's not meant to be. It's giving you its best ability based on sample sizes. But when you do price easier, if you want to use that predictive AI pricing, just look at the sample size. That's why we tell you what the sample size is. We don't hide that from you. We want you to know how many items we sampled from. So how many items are in that sample size? The more items, the more accurate. The fewer number of items, like the person selling signatures, the less accurate. Because if two people really, really wanted a signature, but they're the only two that really care about it, like two people really wanted a Barbara Walters signature and there were only two, those signatures might go for $150 each, but that market might collapse after that. It still might give you a $150 price, but you might not be able to sell it at that because your sample size is so small. So keep that in mind when you're using Price Easier. Binut says, understand how eBay or any huge enterprise data these days is managed when search is a black art of sorts. James posted in the eBay community. I saw your post, James. I didn't comment on it. He said there were some glitches on the site. And people responded to him, it's voodoo magic, it's tooth fairy, that doesn't happen, there are no glitches, there are no this, there are no that. And that's almost like gaslighting. It's a massive, massive, massive software company. Of course there's going to be, they just don't talk about it. We had issues in the category trees with the UK, and there was a shipping thing with weights. These two, they're small things, but we're owning it and we're like, yeah, okay, that happened and we fixed it and we moved on. Thank you for letting us know. But of course this happens with software, of course it does. So when they make big changes, like now the way the promoted listings works. So if someone clicks on your listing 29 days later, whether they bought it or not, that's still a promoted listing because they clicked on it. So that doesn't just happen. That requires a lot of infrastructure change, and that infrastructure change has to impact old listings. It changes how those listings are, and there are always going to be knock-on effects to that. They may not be pulled from the servers the same. They may be, maybe excluding data from a certain server. It may, you may not be able to share posts through social media or something like that. It's just such a massive site and it's so complicated that small changes have big impacts. Just like eBay now, it's very hard for them to make any changes within the API because even small changes could make lots of software that's connected to that API not work properly. So they can't really make too many changes to it. Small changes in software, which have to happen sometimes, can have big knock-on effects. When we pushed Flex UK in Australia, that was a huge change. That was a huge amount of software that pushed in an hour. And to be honest with you, it is incredible how smooth it went. You're almost nervous because you don't know what's going to happen. You beta tested, you did everything you could, and now it's time to launch. And it's like, it's a very complicated machine, and you're like, okay. And then when it does, it's like a big sigh of relief, but things can go wrong for sure. And they do. Just because companies like eBay or Amazon, I'm not even going to just say eBay, Amazon, YouTube, Walmart, all these other companies that have software, just because they don't acknowledge it doesn't mean it's not happening. Of course it is. There's such huge, massive platforms with archaic and new infrastructure. Scott says, Josh, you have dropped out of my top 10 list of Canadians now. Close to triple digits. I died on the vine there. I withered and died on the vine. I flubbed and it's over. Binut says, but before an actual product search is even done, a selection search takes place to find what categories, in eBay's case, need to be searched against. Fair enough. Oh, we're almost to the end. People are coming back from lunch. I jumped here. Yeah, Beard, do you even know 10 Canadians as Amazon seller? Do you even know 10 Canadians? I'm going to skip the technical talk here, B-Nudes, because it's outside of my area of expertise. Glenn Cameron says, discovering some rare ones in there. Picked up about 30 celebrity autos from a thrift store. That's awesome. It was a collection from someone who obtained them that was involved in the industry. List easier is great. I love it. Awesome, Glenn. That is huge. That's good feedback. Thank you. D-Box says, if listing 200 CDs took you X amount of time, how long now with the software? Asking James. Cut it in half, more or less? I'm not going to answer for James, but I would say definitely cut it in at least half. Where Pigs Fly Farm says, funny you should say something about expanding. I just met with a contractor on Wednesday about building my eBay warehouse, about 3,000 square feet. Thank you. This is being built around List Easier infrastructure, and we take it very seriously, everyone. And thank you for putting that trust in us. It's awesome. It feels amazing. Spencer's over here smiling. She's so happy. Eric Bresci says, time to make me a wrench. I can't on this one. I got to go to the other one, Eric. Okay, don't get off, Eric, here. I can do it. Maybe I can't, Eric. It's not updating me. Gonna have to get you next time. Because this isn't my account. It's Dave's account. Cassini. So say Cassini, which is what eBay calls itself, its search engine, is actually hundreds, if not more, of actual search targeted code. There is no one common algorithm. I don't know. My head is spinning from all the technical talk from this weekend. Half Shell Hero. Nice. Ninja Turtles. Anyone else have people send long messages asking you to change item specifics? Apparently it's a hobby people have. For instance, please change your CD listing to music original cast from musical. You know what? I think some people are lonely and they consider themselves experts in a very niche thing, and they just go through eBay policing things and wanting people to switch things to the way they want it. We get it sometimes too. I will just say thank you. I appreciate you. When you're ready to buy this thing, we're here. But I think they just want someone to talk to and someone to tell them that they're doing a good job. And that's what I do. Quirky Picker Chad says, hey Josh, I'm thinking about changing my name to 5 o'clock Shadow Picker. Nice. Nice, Quirky Picker Chad. Jovial Juggler says, Ms. Unite says, at the same time, eBay looks at buyer patterns and will put queries against database tables outside of the focus query to try and upsell, cross-sell for sure. Rhonda, Jovial Juggler, says, is there or will there be an EOS web service for camera connectivity over the internet for List Easier? I think that's a roadmap thing. Yeah, that's on the roadmap. Super Dave, who is a technical founder, says yes, and understood that whole sentence, even though I didn't. Okay, we're going to skip the tech talk.
We want it to.
Yeah, we want it to. It works for us too, Super Dave says. John says, end and sell similar is about the frequency every week. No, every 29th day before eBay recycles your listing for me. Yes. That said, everyone in my categories, please stop doing this immediately. John is a proponent of end and sell similar. Junk Boy Thrift, and I'm not going to weigh into it. For me, I put optimized listings out and then it sits there. But my stuff is very niche, so it doesn't matter how many times I relist it. Until that buyer comes by, it really doesn't matter. When they see it and they want it, they're going to buy it. They're unique, one-of-a-kind items. That's my own personal opinion, but I don't want to weigh in on it, to be honest. Junk Boy Thrift, and I'm going to end on this one, says, oh, no, I got a question here. D-Box says, is predictive pricing coming to bulk? That would be huge. Yep. Super Dave says yes on the roadmap. We're working on it. I think we're taking a few weeks at least here just to button up some things, specifically in UK category trees. There's some stuff going on there. So once we get some breathing room, we're going to start iterating again. Junk Boy Thrift says, I have noticed when cross-listing to other platforms, the description can have over 1,000 characters from the AI generation. Is there a way to reduce the description to 1,000 characters? That's a good one, Junk Boy. Send us an email. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Send us an email. And Wheels and Resin says, listed 500 yesterday and 4 homemade resin items. Worked 100%, even got the colors. Let's go. Let's build these businesses. List Easier, not even 6 months in, people are building warehouses around their businesses. This is incredible. Think about the change that's happened in the past 12 months, past 2 years. This is incredible. So keep going. You're inspiring me. You're encouraging me. We're going to keep doing our part as well. And we will see you tomorrow at noon. Take care, everyone.